Welcome, beautiful. I'm so happy to have you here. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm feeling well. I'm actually have a little bit of a butterfly and
Oh, that's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. I would like to open with your story, and you shared with me a little bit, actually, what sparkled the interest for you to move abroad and to learn English language. So please feel free to share with my audience.
yeah, yeah, thank you. Uh, yeah, it's really like a special memory, and just brings me a lot of joy just to look back and remember that part of my story. One is when I was maybe around 7 years old. My uncle, he was living in Japan.
Mhm.
He was there for a few years. And back then in 1998, I don't know, 97,
So no technology, no.
no technology. There was no way to call home or anything. But I remember that from time to time, we would receive on the post a VHS tape,
Mhm. Mhm.
and we would gather together with the family and put the tape on the TV. And then it was an image of my uncle sitting on the floor, actually, like the Japanese, right?
Uh-huh.
Sitting on the floor of his apartment and so minimalist. And he would give us an update on his life. Uh, and I remember sometimes he would just say, "Oh, look, my watch," and then it shows the weather. It's like, and we were just fascinated by the technology. I think Japan was quite advanced back then.
Yeah, I guess so.
So it was really nice, and it sparkled my imagination because from that moment I started imagining, oh, actually there is something else other than Brazil. There is like
Mhm.
more to the world.
Mhm, mhm,
Uh, so it was a bit of like a first exposure to the outside,
mhm.
to outside Brazil. Yeah, yeah, or
It,
my
it,
village
I
even.
guess it was very beautiful, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And I remember he would send us sometimes some toys, like a stuffed bear. And it was really nice to look on the stamp on the bear that it was saying made in Japan.
Yeah, I remember the same time my aunt was in Germany, so we would receive usually Haribo sweets and Milka chocolate. And all of that. It was a whole different world. So that sparkled
Yeah.
your interest about, if I may say, the outside world from the country you were in. And
Mhm.
what happened next?
Yeah. Yeah, and the time passed a bit, and I forgot a bit about this imagination, or it wasn't something I was thinking on a regular basis. But I remember that at some point I had a friend, and she was a daughter of an American and a Brazilian woman, and she was attending American school. So
Mhm.
sometimes we would play together, and she would say some English words in between, and I had no idea what she was talking about. And one day she brought a friend, so we were playing the three of us.
Uh-huh.
Uh, and Sophie was the girl, and she was from England, and she didn't speak any Portuguese. And and we were spending the whole day playing together. And I was so frustrated because I wanted to talk to Sophie,
There was
but
no
I was
Google
not.
Translate or nothing back then,
Oh,
right? No.
nothing, nothing. And I guess I don't know. Maybe Jessica was facilitating a bit the conversation, but we were running and doing stuff. It was really hard to be translating simultaneously.
Mhm.
But then that sparkled my intention, my interest. That I said, okay, maybe one day I will learn English so I can speak to Sophie.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Are you in contact with them?
No, I never saw Sophie again after that day.
Oh,
Uh, Yeah, and with Jessica, I also think our families, they were just not so close anymore, or it
uh-huh.
was just a moment.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
that we were closer. So I haven't met her either.
So Jessica and Sophie, if you are listening or watching to this anywhere in the world, please reach out. It would be nice to connect because now we all speak English, right?
Yes.
English is like English is like a general language. It's something that actually connects us, and I loved learning it from when I was 7 years old, actually, and it changed my life because now I can do what I love with everyone. From the entire world, everyone understands English. But now you are in Czech Republic, right?
Mhm.
And prior to that, you moved from Brazil to Netherlands. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I moved to the Netherlands in
Mm-hmm.
2010.
Mm-hmm.
So right after I finished college,
Mm-hmm.
uh, it was the first time that I was gonna move away from home,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and the first time flying on a plane,
Oh,
and it
so
was
sweet.
12 hours.
So what were the biggest challenges that you actually faced when you moved? And I guess it's a huge cultural difference, for example.
Yeah. And I nowadays I say that I'm glad I didn't know what challenges they would come on my way,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because I feel that if I would know, I maybe would think twice before moving.
Okay, okay.
But I'm glad I didn't know, and I was brave to go, because I feel like it was challenging but the most rewarding experience for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What were the
Yeah,
challenges? How you overcame that?
yeah. Um, I think I remember first day when I landed in Amsterdam. I arrived at 11 in the morning, uh, 10th of December
Uh-huh.
2010. So
You
start of the
remember you
winter.
remember the date.
Yeah. I
Okay.
left Brazil on the 9th and I arrived on the 10th.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember back then my partner, he was waiting for me at the airport. And he had a coat that he borrowed from one of our friends that was living there in the time, because I didn't even have warm enough clothes for that weather.
Yeah, I guess.
I had like some Brazilian like jackets, but they were not good enough to
Uh-huh,
step
uh-huh,
outside.
uh-huh. Yeah, well, it was December. It was very cold, right?
Yeah, I think
Uh-huh.
it was maybe around -9, -10 degrees.
Yeah, welcome.
And he was really excited. He wanted to show me the city, uh, but I was a bit terrified. And I remember it was 5 o'clock and it was already dark, and
Mm-hmm.
there was snow, and it was really scary. Uh, like 5 o'clock and it's so dark. I never saw that before.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, this was the first shock, and then later on, as I'm living the daily life in the country, simply by going to the supermarket and having no idea where to look for the ingredients and what ingredients are available there, what to cook, what to eat.
Exactly.
Uh, yeah, that was also challenging
Mm-hmm.
part of it. And one other challenge for me was the bike culture in the Netherlands, because I was living in a city in Brazil where it was very hilly.
Uh-huh.
So I remember I tried biking on the flat for a little bit and I never tried it again.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Um, so I didn't know how to ride a bike. And when I arrived there,
And everyone in Netherlands ride bike. Yeah.
yeah, and it's the expected from you that you will come, you will get a bike, because that's how you go around, how you live. You go to work, you go to parties and events. Even the prime minister in the Netherlands, he goes by
Really?
bike to
I
his
I
work.
didn't know that. I didn't know that. Well, that's nice. They're taking care of the environment, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a really nice initiative, like to they have really like the perfect conditions for bike and the passion. And I think Dutch people are really aware of money, so I think that's also a great part of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's much cheaper to use your bike to go, and much more practical to use the bike on the daily activities. But for me, it wasn't part of my life. It was really challenging.
I
I had
understand. I understand.
I had to bike to cycle maybe 2, 3 kilometers to go meet a friend, and I was dying. I couldn't make it.
For how long did you stay in Netherlands?
About 11 years I was there. Yeah,
Really? 11
yeah,
years?
yeah.
I thought it was shorter and you moved. But for how long are you now in Czech Republic?
And now at the end of the June, it will be 3 years here. Yeah,
Really? And
yeah,
what did you notice is like similar or different between Netherlands and Czech Republic? Where do you like
yeah.
it more?
I
Is
hope
there
my
even
partner will not listen to this.
is that even comparable? Like,
um, yeah, that's a great question. Because I feel that the biggest shock happened Brazil, the Netherlands.
mm-hmm,
Um, but after 11 years there, I was quite comfortable. So I didn't expect that moving to Czech Republic would be a shock. I was thinking it would be easier.
mm-hmm,
Um, but going back to not knowing the local language, I think the more east you go, maybe people are a bit more closed because of their past history,
mm-hmm,
especially in more touristic cities like Prague.
mm-hmm,
So you don't get to really see the real people or meet them on an intimate condition. So you don't see they are quite close and feels a bit cold.
mm-hmm,
And I remember because usually when you move, you are so much longing for connection, for some kindness. And I remember the first times going out in Prague, I would go for a coffee, but they are not very friendly. They will not say good morning. Uh,
mm-hmm,
and that's the biggest difference because in the Netherlands, especially when I arrived, I didn't speak English that well. So I would say, can I have a coffee? And the Dutch, they would say, hello, good morning, how are you? What can I get you? But here in the Czech Republic, they were saying, what can I get you? There was
Uh-huh.
no
There
time
was
for
no
good morning.
closeness. There was no
Yeah.
closeness, right? So how did it feel for you to move from Brazil to Netherlands and then from Netherlands to Czech Republic in
Yeah.
terms of your inner struggles? What were the
Mhm.
pain points? Um,
Mhm.
what triggered you the most? What you needed to work the most on? Did you have any help, any like expat groups or anything else which can like help you with this and provide support for even
Yeah.
people who are coming in unknown places, right?
Mhm. I'm happy that nowadays I feel that there is more and more support.
Mm-hmm.
Back in 2010, when I moved, I couldn't find at that moment, I didn't find that much support. For example, now I know that in the Netherlands, I think in Utrecht, the Expat Center, they have a program to support partners
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of times back then I had a Brazilian partner and he came for his job. So I didn't have a life figured out yet for myself. And I didn't have any support to, okay, what is possible. But luckily nowadays it seems that some expat centers, they are keeping the attention on that and saying, okay, how can we support those partners
Mm-hmm.
so that they can also rebuild their lives?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and for me, that was challenging to know what is my role in this society
Mm-hmm.
because my partner, he had his role defined.
Mm-hmm.
I was just a fresh graduate. I didn't have that much work experience, and I didn't know. I After applying for a few jobs, I was also questioning what would be the value of someone hiring me because I didn't speak Dutch or English as good as the locals. I didn't go to the best university in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I just went to a local university because it's what I could afford. And so it was really hard to overcome my own insecurity about what I would be able to offer.
And
Um,
that's a huge struggle. And knowing from my
mhm.
own experience, you have unbelievably huge heart. So, and that doesn't depend on a university or any of the life experiences. It's just who we are. And I know that now you are doing a magnificent job because you want to be the one who would like to help people who are moving from one part of the world to the other or one country to the other because of your experiences and the coaching which you actually are certified for. And I know all the beautiful things that you want to do. Please share with us a little bit from your own experience when you move abroad and you need to connect with people. What kind of I wouldn't call it strategies, but how you did around that, how you get to know new people, how you build your own community. I guess it,
Mhm.
it can be very, very large struggle. But now when I know that you are providing services like this and helping people like this, it's much easier to know who to call to help them. How that was for you, and how did you find your way in both Netherlands and Czech Republic?
Mhm. Yeah, thank you. Yes, I think it's also not giving up, really putting yourself out there, because I know that for a few years I was hiding at home.
Oh.
And I was using it as an excuse that I would just be, because there is no place for me. So I would just accept and really be just at home watching TV or doing some hobbies, which I didn't feel like were leading me anywhere in my career. Um, but then at some point I realized that I needed to take small steps and find something to do. I worked for 3 years in the hostel, and I was working on the bar and also in the breakfast buffet. And
Mm-hmm.
it was a place where I could meet a lot of international people, and the staff working there, they were also quite international. But in the same time, I was also like slowly learning about the Dutch culture. So that job, even though it wasn't challenging professionally, I think it helped me a lot uh, to adjust to life and to get comfortable with the languages. Um,
I think you are a very
Also,
brave girl. I think you are a very, very brave girl because I didn't accept to move to London, although Goldman Sachs gave me everything I could ever imagine. And I just wish people to understand how um, challenging can be when you try to move for the first time
yeah.
if you're not familiar with the environments. And in knowing you, I really have to say that I really see you as a very brave girl. I'm sorry I interrupted you, but I had to say
Mm.
this. You are a girl with a university degree. You moved from completely other parts of the world where it is very nice weather and hot to somewhere where it's very cold, where people are different, and you accepted a job as a bartender or however we want to call that, and you found light in that because you had an opportunity to meet people and to connect with them, you
Yeah.
know so this is value which we can't put a price on, because this is truly the experience you lived. And this
Mhm.
is why I'm absolutely sure that you are the person who can help everyone who decide to move everywhere they want to move, because I don't think there is a thing or a challenge you didn't experience. Is that true?
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate your support and the words, because sometimes I feel like as an expat, uh, you go through so many challenging experiences, but sometimes it's really hard to say how do you add value to that when you need to prove yourself for work. Uh, how do you add that experience? It's not a lot of workplaces that value that experience when they are hiring you for a job. They
Mhm.
are looking at your diplomas and qualifications, but
Mhm.
not so much on the life experience and what you had to overcome.
Mhm. And
Um,
people are usually like, Oh, lucky you. You moved to, I don't know, America, or you moved to Germany, or the life must be better there. But for the first time, we're hearing a very honest story about struggles and challenges when you move somewhere and you're not familiar with the environments. What were the lessons that you have learned about your personal goals and your life from these
Mhm.
14 years you were away from home?
Yeah, yeah, that's a really great question. Oftentimes, I also didn't want to share back home that I was struggling. And sometimes people say that, right? Oh, you are in Paris, you are in Amsterdam. How can you not be happy? But life happens in those places. And I think everywhere there is challenges. It doesn't matter if you are in New York, in Tokyo, or
Mhm.
Paris, there is always challenges. So I think that's the first thing, really, like to not think, uh, not you have this toxic positivity, right? I'm here, I should be thankful I'm in Paris, but no, like you can still feel lonely and that you don't fit in, and need time to adjust to the new place. Um, so for me, I think it was also learning to be honest to the people back home.
Mhm.
Some time ago, a few years ago, my mom was really busy with her work. And one day I called her and then I said, "Hey, you are so busy and I really need you. I really need to talk to you. I need your support and I need to share what I'm going through." And it was really emotional talk that we had because I was feeling quite lonely. And my mom, she was crying, also feeling emotional because she was like, "Thank you for telling me you need my help
She
because
she
I
didn't
didn't think you
she
needed
didn't
me."
realize you actually needed help, right?
Yeah. And
Mm.
sometimes we don't tell the people closer to us that we need their help.
Mhm.
And the parents, I think sometimes they feel like they are not needed anymore. Uh,
Mhm.
but it's hard to say, to come to this conversation, say, "Hey, give me attention and I
This
want
is
to talk."
exactly what I meant when I said you have a huge heart, and this is something where someone is finally talking about realistic experiences.
Yeah,
I know you have a nice life and all of that, but all the emotional struggles you've been through,
yeah,
disconnection from your home, from your family, starting a new life, a new environment, not knowing the language. These are
yeah,
all very serious obstacles, right?
yeah.
Which you learn how to overcome. And this is why I'm repeating the fact that I know how huge your heart is. I know that you are someone who definitely will tell the truth and will help people to find their way in the foreign countries, there are
Yeah,
people who move because of job. There are people who move because of war. There are people who move because of their partners, right? And maybe they don't even want to go anywhere, but the life
mhm,
circumstances send them there, right?
yeah.
And you can help them. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, I made it my mission when I decided to become a coach, a life coach, career coach, uh, transformational coach, right?
Everything.
Because
because
everything,
because that is everything. It's not
yeah, it's
right.
not only career.
It's not only career, it's not only life. It's really the transformation it's really needed. Mm.
Yeah, because I've witnessed when I was in the Netherlands how many partners they were coming with their family and they were struggling to find their way around,
Mhm.
not knowing where to go, what kind of support is available, how can I start my career. And some of them, I feel like they managed to find their way. But for me, it took me 5 years until I finally got a job in human resources. So for
Mhm.
5 years, I was working as a babysitter, as a bartender. I even had to clean houses at some point because that was what was available, what was possible, and what I thought was possible because I was also not feeling um, sure about what I could offer. And that's what I wanted to do with my clients, to because from the moment you move, you have skills, you have knowledge, you have experiences, that even though it might seem that there is no space for you, there is. There is so much work, and I feel like sometimes the right place is there for you. Because when I had my first experience in HR, it was really out of the box how I got the job. And I was saying, thank God there was someone like this out of the box, because that's the person I needed to give me the opportunity. So I feel like when we put our mind to it and we really start looking, there are opportunities. And part of my program, I say, let's start attracting new opportunities. Because I truly believe that when you change your mindset, you start attracting to you those opportunities. You will see them around, and when you are ready, when you are still in the victim and hiding at home, and when it's so scary, you might not be able to spot those opportunities. So I want to ask expats or international professionals, when you come to the new country and it feels scary and you just want to hide at home, rest or accept. No, don't accept. Like there is opportunity out there for everyone.
And this is exactly why your heart is so huge, and uh, everything that you can do for people is pure gold, because you really walked that talk. You really experienced everything and you came on the other side. So it's not just working with someone who is teaching you something, like, providing information, but working with someone who is teaching you something they actually went through, and they are giving you the hand, and the support you need when you move abroad. If anyone would like to reach out to you, just to connect with you or to work with you, if they wouldn't like your help because they're moving abroad and they're facing all of these challenges, what is the best way to find you?
Mhm. You can
Except for
find me
LinkedIn, of
in
course, because
LinkedIn.
if you are
It's
talking to me, that, that's the first thing.
Yeah. LinkedIn, I'm very active there. Thais Silva. I think Catherine, you will put below the link
Yes,
somewhere so they
yes.
can find me. Also my website, Thais, not Thais, sorry, silvalifecoach.nl. That's my website. So there is a contact page. So you can leave there your email and a little message, and I will reach out to you to have a chemistry call, and we can talk and see what are your expectations and how I could support you in your journey.
Thank you so much, Lovely, for being my guest. This was such a wonderful conversation. I truly enjoyed, and I hope you did too.
I did. Thank you so much for this opportunity to share my story. Thank
It's
you.
my pleasure. Talk soon. Ciao.
Ciao.